Hello, welcome to today's upload. Today we're going to look at Journey's End, RC Sheriff's Play, and we're going to focus on how to do an analysis based on the character of Raleigh. Now this analysis and the techniques we use, you can use on any of the characters. It is a quick fire look into how to analyse a character and how to answer a question should you be asked one. So the first thing, who is Raleigh? Well, Raleigh is the young, naive soldier. He says when talking about war and battle, it's frightfully exciting. So Raleigh symbolises the naive youth that believe in all the recruitment propaganda. He's looking for the adventure and the glory of war. Raleigh is presented in Journey's End. Now, one way to look at a character, and if we know we're going to have to write a response, an essay style question, look at the beginning, the middle and the end, the character's journey in the play. Now I've wrote 5 bullet points and I've pulled out 5 points in the story of Journey's End where we learn aspects of Raleigh's character. So when he first comes down the stairs, he's described as a well-built, healthy-looking boy of about 18. Sheriff purposely introduces this healthy young man with the future ahead of him. When talking about war, he says it's frightfully exciting. The naiveness of youth against the experienced soldiers that are all around him that would not use that statement. When he talks about stand-up early on, he says he was a skipper at rugger at Barford. So he knows who stand-up is. In fact, stand-up's dating his sister, and he's got these high aspirations, high hopes of stand-up. He knows him, he admires him. Stand-up is one of the influences of why he's joined this battalion. When Osborne dies, he says, how can I sit down and eat? The reality of war is starting to kick in at this point. And at the very end, when Raleigh is carried down the stairs, this is a bit of a spoiler alert if you haven't read the play yet or seen the brilliant Hollywood version of it that was recently released a year or two back. But Raleigh at the end is carried down the stairs and he's described as afraid he's broke his back spine, sir. He can't move his legs. Afraid he's broke his spine, sir. He can't move his legs. So if you look at the very beginning, he comes down the stairs, he walks down the stairs, a well-built, healthy-looking boy of about 18. At the end of the war, at the end of the fight scene, he's carried down the stairs with a broken spine and can't move his legs. So the first bullet point and the last bullet point, we can take quite a lot of what Sheriff's message is regarding war and regarding the naiveness of youth. Look how he starts and look how he ends. There is a message, the reality of war. It's not the propaganda, it's the reality. So if we have to answer a question, we can look at different aspects and different ways to structure and create a formula. Now in other videos I've used different formulas on my channel. Please feel free to have a look at how to answer language and how to answer structure. In this one we're going to look at Peter. It's slightly different than other ways that I've uploaded before, but Peter is point, evidence, technique, explain, reader. So state your point, your evidence is your quotes. What techniques are we talking about? If there's a technique you recognise in the quote, is it a simile or a metaphor, an adverb, an adjective, alliteration, personification, all these techniques. Now remember, if you can't find the technique, you can say the use of the word frightfully, the use of the word exciting, taking that quote, frightfully exciting. You can say the use of the phrase. So do not waste time in an exam racking your brains. If you're stuck on the technique, it's a word or it's a phrase. So Peter, point, evidence, technique, explain, reader. Now let's have a look at this. So if the question is, how is Raleigh portrayed in Journey's End? Peter, the yellow is the P, the green is the E, technique, it's actually purple, I've left it blank there, it should be in purple. Blue is the explain, and if I've mentioned the reader, it's grey. So I'm trying to highlight all the colours in my answer, and as you can see there, it is clear that I have. So let's have a read through. Looking at the first bullet point, and I think we go on to frightfully exciting the second bullet point. So a quick flashback to the bullet points. We will talk about how it's frightfully exciting and there. So we're just starting our essay, the first 2 paragraphs, and it would read something along these lines. In Journey's End, Raleigh symbolises the naive youth, the young recruits that believe in the recruitment propaganda, the lies and stories that are being told to them in England by the government and the media. Sheriff utilises Raleigh as a metaphor for the dead youth of war. So in the yellow, I've stated my point there, and I'm already talking about technique. So in the beginning, when Raleigh arrives, he is described as a well-built, healthy-looking boy of about 18. That's a quote. The use of Sheriff's language choice, well-built, creates a positive appearance of Raleigh to the readers. He is strong and healthy, suggesting he has a long life ahead of him. The adjective healthy indicates he is able and in good shape. Sheriff describes him in this way to emphasise to the audience that Raleigh has youth and a good future should he make the right decisions. However, the fact he is young and impressionable has allowed others to manipulate him. Raleigh believes he is enlisted to have a frightfully exciting time. In Journey's End, Raleigh is also presented as a naive, enthusiastic person when he mentions how fascinating war is. For example, when talking about war, he says it's frightfully exciting. The adverb frightfully emphasises how excited he is to be involved in the war and to win. Alternatively, this also suggests how naive he is and how the government have manipulated him, which would make the audience feel sympathy for him, as he clearly has no idea how serious and dangerous the war is. So we have used our Peter: point, evidence, technique, explain, and we've mentioned the reader. If you can structure your response in this way, you know you are hitting the assessment objectives and the criteria to produce a very good piece of written work. So let's quickly go over. We look at Peter. Peter is the formula to answer the question. We look at the character in the play, where the character is introduced, what scenes, and we find 5 bullet points. 5 points. The beginning and the end are always a good clue, a good hint to the characters when they are first introduced and when they're their final scenes. We can learn a lot about characters in these scenes, and we can learn a lot about what the writer, in this case Sheriff, wants to show. So using Peter and using our bullet points, we should be able to create a very good piece of work at this standard.